So we were looking at the applications of steam turbines: power generation, refinery, petrochemicals, pharmaceuticals, food processing, pulp and paper mills. Okay, these are the applications of steam turbines. Then selection of turbine, how you are going to select which type of turbine you are going to use. So depending upon the efficiency, life of the turbine, the density of power, that means power density is nothing but power to weight ratio. Its power should be high and weight should be low. Direct operation cost, manufacturing and maintenance cost, depending upon these parameters you are going to select a particular type of turbine. Now let us move towards the classification of steam turbine. Steam turbines are classified basically depending upon different methods, like your hydraulic turbines also we have classified. So on the same basis we are going to classify by the details of stage design. Okay, whether the action is impulse action or reaction action. Based on that it is classified as impulse or reaction steam turbine. Then by steam supply and exhaust condition, how you are going to supply the steam and what is the exhaust condition of steam. Based on that also you are going to classify the steam, whether it is condensing or non-condensing, automatic or controlled extraction, mixed pressure or reheat type of turbine. Okay, reheating is also one of the important parameter in steam turbines. Then by direction of steam flow also, like hydraulic turbines, there is also by direction of steam flow you can classify the axial flow, radial flow or tangential flow, but most of the steam turbines are axial flow type turbines. Then single or multi-stage turbines, steam turbines. Okay, then by steam, nature of steam supply, whether it is superheated steam or saturated steam, based on that also you can classify the steam turbines. Now the most important term in steam turbine is a stage. This is a new term for us, which we have not seen in the hydraulic turbine. Okay, the stage, what do you mean by stage? Now here the concept is same, but it is given a new name, that is called as a stage. If you remember, there was a nozzle and then after nozzle there is a runner. Okay, in hydraulic turbine also and steam turbine also there is a steam nozzle and then there is a steam turbine, that is nothing but runner of the turbine. So the nozzle in case of steam turbine, it is named as a stator. Okay, stator, or it is also called as nozzle itself, and the runner or the turbine wheel is called as a rotor. So there is a combination of stator and rotor, and one stator plus one rotor, that is called as a stage. That is called as a stage. So this is a stator, okay, and this is a rotor. So this one completely one stage. Okay, again there will be stator and rotor. So this will be second stage. So this is a two-stage turbine shown in the figure. Okay, this is the inlet and outlet. Why so many stages are used, that we'll see afterwards, but for the time being you remember that the stage is nothing but it is a term which consists of stationary stator row and a rotating rotor row. Okay, that is called as a stage. Now most awaiting term that we are going to see in steam turbines, that is nothing but impulse steam turbine and reaction steam turbine. What do you mean by impulse turbine? Okay, impulse steam turbine, and what do you mean by reaction steam turbine? That is the very important concept in steam turbine. This is the basic concept in steam turbine, and based on this the turbine theory, steam turbine theory is evolved, and we are going to see the derivation for that. Okay, so the concept, basic concept of impulse remains same, that is the pressure energy is totally converted into kinetic energy. That is called as the impulse action. Okay, that you can say it is called as the impulse type of turbine. While in reaction turbine the pressure energy is partly converted into kinetic energy and pressure energy. The same concept is there here also, that is called as a reaction steam turbine. So basic terminology is same, only the components which are used here they are modified, because the fluid, working fluid is a steam. Okay, so let us see what do you mean by impulse turbine. The principle of working. Impulse turbine works on the simple impulse turbine impulse principle, that is nothing but the pressure across the turbine runner remains same. Okay, we have seen the pressure does not change across the moving blades, or the pressure does not change across the runner. Okay, in this case the moving part, which is a rotor, it is also called as a blade. Okay, moving blade, this is called as a fixed blade. Stator is called as a fixed blade and rotor is called as a moving blade. So across the moving blade, okay, there is no pressure change. Okay, so that is the impulse turbine. So in impulse turbine, the high pressure high temperature steam from the boiler expands through a fixed nozzle, that is steam nozzle, and this is a nozzle, so high pressure steam coming from the boiler, and it is expanded, or it is blown over the rotor blades. Okay, these are the moving blades, and this rotor rotates, and this is a shaft connected to this rotor. Okay, so the high velocity jet of steam leaves the nozzle and is made to impact on the blades, moving blades. The shaft rotates due to the high impulsive force exerted by the steam jet on the blades, and same formula we are going to use for calculating the force, which is nothing but impulse momentum principle, or Newton's second law of motion. Examples of impulse turbine. Now there are, like hydraulic turbine, there was a Pelton turbine, which was a famous impulse turbine. Here also we are going to see the impulse type of turbine. There are different types: De Laval turbine, Curtis turbine, Rative turbine. Okay, now the step by step we'll see what do you mean by this impulse turbine, and which are these or what are the what we can say, the stages achieved across these turbines. So first one, let us see simple impulse turbine. That is nothing but De Laval turbine. The De Laval turbine is called as a simple impulse turbine. Simple impulse turbine means you are using only single stage turbine. Okay, single stage turbine is nothing but your simple impulse turbine. So De Laval turbine, if you see in the diagram, this is a rotor. Okay, this is a shaft. Okay, and this is a nozzle. Okay, so steam is coming from this nozzle and it is hitting on the blades which are mounted on the rotor. This is a moving blade. Okay, so this is a stationary nozzle and this is a moving blade. So it is a rotor and this is a stator. So when steam is tangentially entering into these blades and it is hitting to the curved blade, okay, it is made curved because we are getting maximum work done in curved shape. So when it is hitting curved, so this is producing force because of the Newton's second law of motion, and it rotates in tangential direction. It rotates in tangential direction, and that produces the work done. Okay, so here it is a cut section is shown on the shaft. If you see side view, this is a shaft. Okay, this hatching is nothing but casing. Okay, and this is a nozzle. This is a convergent divergent nozzle. Okay, fixed nozzle. So it is a stationary, and this one is mounted on the shaft. Okay, that is called as a moving blade. So this is a moving blade. So when you see in the cut section, you will see this type of arrangement. So steam is entering axially. So that's why it is called as an axial flow turbine. So generally the steam is entering to the nozzle in axial direction to that of the shaft. Okay, so in the direction of the shaft. So construction, the main parts of the turbine we know: rotor, nozzle, blades, casing. Okay, the function of rotor is nothing but to produce power. Okay, but this rotor is rotated with the help of steam which is coming out through the nozzle. It is a fixed passage whose function is to increase the kinetic energy, okay, or convert the pressure energy into kinetic energy. Blades, in this turbine only one set of moving blades is rigidly fixed to the rim of rotor or wheel, and that blades are nothing but, you can say, moving blades. Okay, so here there are, in the stage there are two things: one is nozzle and another one is a moving blade. Okay, in further cases we are going to see there are two things which are nothing but nozzle is also called as a fixed blade. Okay, in that case, but that we'll see when we'll see compounding. But for simple impulse turbine, the fixed blades are replaced by nozzle. So there is a set of nozzles and set of blades, moving blades. Okay, for a simple impulse turbine. Casing, the casing is outside cover of the steam turbine, and it is fitted with a fixed nozzle. Okay, so nozzles are fitted to the casing, fixed blades are fitted to the casing, and moving blades are fitted on the rotor. Okay, so fixed blades or nozzles are not moving, but the rotor blades are moving, or moving blades are moving. Principle of working: in the De Laval single stage impulse turbine, the steam is expanded in the fixed nozzle only. In the nozzle, the velocity of steam increases with decrease of pressure. As the steam passes over the blade, the pressure remains constant with the decrease of velocity. This is a very important word. That is, the pressure remains constant. That is the principle of impulse turbine. Pressure does not change across the moving blades. That is the speciality of impulse turbine. If you remember, in hydraulic turbines also, the runner, across the runner, the pressure was not changing. Okay, only the pressure is changing in fixed nozzles. Okay, so total pressure energy is converted into kinetic energy. So here the decrement is pressure. This is a pressure line, inlet pressure to the exit pressure. Okay, so this is in the set of nozzle. you can see the pressure decreases and the velocity increases, and this velocity is absorbed across the moving blades, because kinetic energy is absorbed for rotation of the moving blades, and that's why kinetic energy decreases. But what about pressure energy? Pressure energy does not change. You will say, if kinetic energy is changing, pressure energy has to change, but it is not so. It may be possible that kinetic energy is utilized here in rotation of the moving blades, that's why it is decreasing. Okay, so pressure energy is not utilized. Okay, so only kinetic energy is utilized across the moving blades, so that's why the pressure remains constant. So that is the main thing that you have to remember, that the total pressure energy is converted in the nozzles in case of impulse turbine, and you are converting that pressure energy to kinetic energy, and after that kinetic energy is utilized for rotation of the moving blades. So this is the velocity diagram. It is as usual as we have seen for hydraulic turbine also. Okay, so this is a blade. Okay, this is a blade. The velocity, which is absolute velocity, okay, v1, it is entering at an angle alpha 1. Okay, alpha 1 is the absolute velocity angle, which we have taken as alpha in case of hydraulic turbine, and because v1 is making an angle alpha 1 with the horizontal, vr1 is making an angle beta 1 with the horizontal. So that's why vr1 was making an angle theta in case of hydraulic turbine. So similar to that, theta is here replaced by beta 1. So vr1 is nothing but the tangentially the velocity which is entering into the turbine blade, okay, moving blade, that is vr1. So this is the shape of blade. Okay, vf1 is the axial velocity. Steam is entering in axial direction after all to the turbine, and then after leaving the turbine to in the tangential direction, or in the what you can say tangent to this curvature, that direction is vr2. Okay, it is making an angle phi, but here it is beta 2. Okay, then this is v2, which is nothing but your absolute velocity, which is making an angle alpha 2. Okay, which was beta in hydraulic turbines, and vf2 axial velocity. So the usual terminology is there: vr1, v1, vf1, and vr2, v2, vf2. Okay, similarly u is the axial velocity which is between v1 and vr1. U is the runner velocity, blade velocity between v1 and vr1. Similarly vw1 is nothing but the complete velocity between v1 and vf1. It is shown wrongly here. It is vw1 is between vf1 and v1 and vf1, that is complete vw1. Okay, similarly in between vr2 and v2 there is u, in between v2 and vr2 there is u, and in between vf2 and v2 there is vw2. Okay, it is right, v2 and vf2 there is a vw2. So this is a velocity diagram. There u remains constant, u is not changing, because if you see the inlet and outlet, okay, from this diagram, the inlet and outlet are at the same distance from the turbine shaft. Okay, center line of the shaft, if you see inlet and outlet of the blade, they are at the same distance because it is entering axially. So the point 1 and 2 from the center line of the shaft are at the same distance. That's why u1 is equal to u2 is equal to u. Then combined velocity triangle is also shown. If you see, the same diagram can be combinedly drawn, okay, on one diagram only. The inlet velocity triangle and outlet velocity triangle can be drawn combinedly. That is called the combined velocity diagram. So you take a reference as a u, that is the velocity of the blade. Okay, on u you can take this as a v1. Okay, this is v1, nothing but which is making an angle alpha 1. Okay, absolute velocity making an angle alpha 1. vr1 which is making an angle beta 1. Okay, which is nothing but blade angle beta 1. Okay, so this is v1, vr1, and this is vf1. Okay, so this triangle, this complete triangle is called the inlet velocity triangle. And similarly the outlet velocity triangle, if you see vr2, v2 and vf2, so vr2 making an angle beta 2, v2 making an angle alpha 2, and vf2 in a axial direction. So this is vertical line. So this complete triangle is a outlet velocity triangle. So inlet velocity triangle and outlet velocity triangle. So in between v1 and vf1 you see vw1. In between v1 and vf1 there is vw1. In between vr1 and vr1 and v1 there is u. In between vr2 and v2 there is again u. And in between vf2 and v2 there is vw2. Likewise you have to remember. And vw1 plus vw2, it is also called as a delta vw, which is shown at the top side. So here vw is the component which is responsible for producing the work again. That is the tangential work component of velocity. So what is work done, that we will see in the next lecture. Thank you.